Individuals and HUF. Now, for income tax purposes, what do you mean or what are covered under individual and HUF? Now, first question is, why do you need to classify people in these 7 categories? Or maybe in individual and HUF. The reason for this is that each one of them is taxed differently. Okay? And each one of them may be entitled to certain types of benefits which may or may not be available to the others. Keeping this in mind, let us now see who all are covered within the definition of individuals. The first one, of course, which comes naturally to our mind is that it includes only natural person. Natural person is people like us and you, human beings. It does not include people who are kind of incorporated or are deemed to exist by virtue of the law. Let's say, for example, a company, right? It includes minor, major, male, female. So the age does not matter. The gender does not matter. As long as you are a natural person, okay, that is, you are a human being, whether you are a minor or a major from an age perspective, or whether you are a male or female from a gender perspective, that does not make a difference. You are an individual for tax purposes. Please note that whatever discussions we are doing here, we are doing only for income tax purposes. Person of unsound mind, they could be maths, okay, or who would have temporarily lost their mind, and you would have studied again in the laws of contract about these person. And discretionary trustees of a discretionary trust, okay, are also individual. Now, what do you mean by discretionary trust? This is going to see in the chapter relating to taxation of trust. Okay, a discretionary trust is the one which is at the discretion of the settlor. There is a concept of settlor, trust, trustee, beneficiary in trust, which we will see later on. But even the trustees of such a trust are also taxed as individual. Why? Because actually the income of the trust, what happens in a trust is, let me just take this a little bit with you. In a trust, what happens is that, you will have certain people who will be, so there's a trust. The person who settles the trust or creates the trust is known as the settlor. Now, this trust may be set up for a particular purpose or for the purpose of certain specified people who are to be benefited from this trust. They are known as the beneficiaries. Okay? And the person who ensures that the trust works in accordance with the desire of the settlor. The settlor will settle the trust for a particular purpose. Okay? These people look after the administration to see that the trust works in accordance with the direction of the settlor. Even the settlor can be a trustee. So these trustee, for income tax purposes, the income of the trust is taxed in the hands of the trustee. They are taxed as representative assessees. Right? So even these trustees of a discretionary trust are taxed as individuals. Okay? The second is the HUF, or the Hindu Undivided Family. This is not defined under the Income Tax Act. So in a Hindu undivided family, what happens is that various people are treated as an HUF. Okay? But what do you mean by an HUF? It is a relationship created due to operation of law. It is not something which is natural like an individual, but the law creates this relationship. It includes all people lineally descendant from a common ancestor. Again, what does this mean? Let's see it in a whiteboard. So let's say there is an individual A. He had 2 sons, S1 and S2. S1 again had 3 children and S2 had 2 children. Okay, so this guy is known as the ancestor, and any person linearly descendant, which means that he is either his direct children or children of his children, is known as, is actually covered as, I would not say it's known as, it's covered within an HUF. So includes all people linearly descendant from a common ancestor. Now what will happen is that in case of A, his HUF will include S1, S2, S1's children and S2's children. But if you were to look at the HUF of S1, they will include only these 3 children, or maybe their children down the road, right? So HUF includes all people linearly descended from a common ancestor, include their wives and unmarried daughters. Okay, now married daughters are not included as a part of HUF of the father. They are included as the part of HUF of the husband. The manager of HUF is called Karta. Let's say in this case, if you are looking at HUF of S1, the manager, who could be this guy or someone else, let's say this guy, is known as the Karta, and all the other people who are forming part of this, even his wife, they are known as co-parceners. Okay, right? So this is what you have to learn about individuals in HUF from an income tax perspective.